helping you find your new way forward to the best years of your life. This is a new Way Forward Vodcast with your host, Paul Long.
Out of all the improvements I've made in my life, out of all the things that I've discovered in the 15 years when I started out trying to change my life for the better and discover a new way forward that was right for me, there are 5 things, I call them the 5 powers, that I think are ultimately, that I know actually, are ultimately beneficial for everybody. But this one is number 1. It works, it's easy to do, and it instantly changes your life for the better, makes you happier, and long term, it affects you in positive ways, in more ways than you can possibly imagine. But I want to warn you that maybe you, certainly a lot of people watching this video, are going to have the same reaction I did when I first heard about it, which was, really? Or, well, yeah, I know that, or, oh yeah, I can see you're supposed to do that. But then, as I'll share with you, I discovered that it was life transforming and made my life happier and improved me in ways I didn't expect. Okay, here it is. It's practicing gratitude. I mean, really practicing gratitude. So I'm going to give you an easy one of an impact that can happen to you in just a moment easily. And here's the statement. You cannot be unhappy if you're being grateful. I dare you to try it. I dare you to try it. It is impossible to be unhappy when you're being grateful. Just grateful for something, anything. It could be small, medium, or large. But there's more to it than that, in the way that it can become a habit and transform you and your life. If you talk about self-improvement and personal development, this is number 1 because it's so foundational. It all starts here. And of course, you don't want to try to figure the other things out unless you're in a good place where you're happy and you know what you're happy about in order to figure out what you want more of or what you want to change in your life to make you happier. So let me give you my story real quickly on how I found this. So back in the 2000s, I was coming out of a very toxic business relationship. I mean, it got bad. It was a period of time when I did some of my best work, was under some of the greatest stress that I had ever been, and I had a toxic relationship with a former friend and colleague who was now my boss. By mutual accord, I got out of it. Kim thought it was going to kill me, and she may have been right. I was self-medicating. I was drinking, and I don't drink. It was that bad. And my doctor, when I went and saw him after I got out of there and I told him what was going on, and he said, you're actually suffering from PTSD. You don't have to fight in Afghanistan to have it. A mild case, granted. But I was in a dark hole. It had been so traumatic that I really was like, I don't know if I can do what I used to do anymore. If I had to do it tomorrow, I don't think I could do it. And that was scary because I've also got kids, and a mortgage and everything else. And it's like, man, I gotta get out of this dark, deep hole that I was in. So what I started doing is I started looking into how to get out of the hole. And I started listening to, the spiritual thought leaders and the positive change leaders and people such as that. And somebody brought up gratitude. And then I started noticing other people started talking about it. And I rolled my eyes. Okay, well, yeah, I guess I can do that. So here's the story. I'm sitting 10 feet over here on screened-in porch that we have. And there's a tree over here. And I'm sitting there in that dark hole going, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And a cardinal landed on this limb over here and started singing. And I thought to myself, oh, I should be practicing gratitude for the cardinal to be singing. And every time I get goosebumps, I just get a rush of emotion and goosebumps when I think about it, because this was one of the most transformative moments in my life, because suddenly, I don't know how, I got it. And it was like this rippling wave of just all of these things that I was thinking about, fundamental, basic things that I was grateful for. my family, the love of the kids, this house and this place and living there and things that I had done in my life, on and on and on. It just was like a flood. And at that moment, it completely changed my life. Because then I started practicing it, and it was so easy to do. And all of a sudden, everything in my life started looking differently. And my reactions to things started changing. And my rote and automatic negative thinking, which all of us are afflicted with, started changing. So I'm not talking about, I should be grateful, any kind of airy-fairy thing, to make life like walking through a sunny meadow with the dew on the grass and butterflies and flying unicorns farting rainbows. No, although I'd be pretty damn grateful to see that. But no, I'm talking about real, legitimate gratitude that we don't put our attention on. There are all of these, you see them in articles and on social media and stuff like that about the number of negative thoughts that we have every day, and especially about ourselves. And, some of the numbers that they come up with are ludicrous. They don't work. But suffice it to say, and this is something to bring some awareness to yourself, is how many negative reactions and negative thoughts we have every day, and especially about ourselves. Oh, I didn't do this. Why didn't I do that? How could I have said that? You're not getting this done. You're a wasted pile of human protoplasm. Or thinking about what you don't have rather than what you do have, which is a huge part of unhappiness and dissatisfaction with life and yourself. What I don't have versus what you do have. How often have you actually been grateful, appreciative, acknowledge everything that you do have? And when you start doing that, as I'll go through the list in a moment, all of these things start changing. And all of a sudden, with me, it started changing those auto reactions. Something happens and we typically react to it in the way that we've reacted to it in the past. And a lot of times that's not a good reaction. It's not a good response. It's not constructive. It's not helpful, let alone what it does to you emotionally and mentally. So part of my gratitude was that I had to turn it into myself, what I was grateful about me. And when I was in that dark hole, I started thinking, wow, Paul, look at professionally what you've done. Look at the stuff you've pulled off. Look at all the awards that you've won. Look at the gratitude that you've had from other people, from clients to people who work for you. Look, oh man, remember that? God, remember how you pulled that off? How you pulled that out of your butt? And it was amazing. And then I started thinking about the way that I am, the kind of father that I am, the kind of husband and companion and co-parent that I am, with my wife and my friends, and just all of the stuff. And I started being more grateful for me, and it was legitimate. And even when I started thinking, my mind started drifting toward the negative, I also thought about some of the previous negatives that I had had that I became self-aware about and worked myself out of. And all of a sudden, my attitude about myself started changing and continues to do so. And when I'm talking about being grateful, it can be anything. And that's the really cool part. It can be the simplest thing in the world, like it's cold outside and I'm in a warm home. There's clean drinking water a few steps away, when the most deaths among children in the world are from bad water, waterborne illnesses like cholera. I've got clean drinking water here. It can be that simple. Or it can just be sitting here right now and, seeing the trees and the incredible landscaping my neighbor's done and the beautiful sunny day and being grateful for it. It can be that simple. It can also be huge, about something that you accomplish or a relationship that you have. The love and relationship that I have with my sons and with my wife and with friends and things of that sort, or something something great that happened. It can be anything of any type. And when you start practicing it all of the time, it becomes a habit. Now, right behind me over there, we get these beautiful sunsets. And I'll see it and I'll actually acknowledge it. Thank you. I'll actually say the words without thinking about it. Thank you. And it makes me feel good. Okay, so let's see. It makes you happy. It makes you feel good. It changes all these things that Paul's about to talk about. Why wouldn't you want to do this? I mean, unless you're a troll, leave a comment and tell me. And then I would challenge you to start practicing this and get back to me in about 3 months. It is a power, because when you are practicing that gratitude, besides the fact that it improves your life instantly and makes you happier, it does these other things. Okay, first, not too surprisingly, mental and emotional well-being. So it boosts positive emotions in general. And in a 2023 meta-analysis found that people who engaged in gratitude practices reported significantly better mental health with more positive moods and emotions. It lowers depression and anxiety. Yeah, it's kind of the opposite of that, right? They have fewer symptoms, people who practice this. That's the case with me. One systematic review concluded that gratitude interventions led to better mental health, fewer symptoms of anxiety and depression, and reduces negative thinking and lifts moods. Greater resilience and stress coping. By the way, when we're talking about number one, and I wrote about this, I'll be doing a video about it too, and I considered all the attributes that are really helpful for living a successful life. And my number one choice was resilience. For one thing, because some of the items on that list are involved with resilience. But life's always going to throw us curveballs. Crap always happens. And resilience allows us to get through it. Resilience also allows us to pursue things that are hard, and most of the important things in life are hard. But it also helps with stress coping as well. And it helps break negative thinking and what's called thought spirals. You know what that is when you're worried or concerned about something and you go down the rabbit hole. It reduces that. And it just overall improves life satisfaction. Isn't it great to be satisfied with your life? Now, my wife brought this up saying, oh, well, Paul, we should be so grateful for everything we have and everything, and yet you're aspiring to do these things. Well, yeah, you can be satisfied and grateful for your life and still aspire to make it even better and have things to be even more grateful for. So that's okie dokie to do. And again, when I was talking about all those negative thoughts and negative reactions, when you start being grateful for what you have rather than what you don't have, that makes you feel better. When you start being grateful for who you are and what you do, that makes life better. And again, I was one of the most self-critical people in the world. Even when I had a big success, I was like, yeah, but, well, I don't do that anymore, even though I'll think about the yeah, but in a non-emotional way, in a way that makes things better. Okay, let's talk about physical health and sleep. What I've always been amazed about is that what the mind can do to improve your physiology, and what things to improve your physiology, like resistance training, aerobic training, and things like that, improve your moods and your mental state of mind. But being grateful and having this kind of a mindset improves the quality of sleep and provides longer sleep. It also enables you to have healthier lifestyle habits, because here's the thing. When I was looking for my new way forward, I figured out, man, to pursue it, to discover it, and to enjoy it, I need to be healthy. So it becomes this natural motivation for me to want to work out, to want to eat better, to drag my butt to the gym or out on a brisk, intense walk. It makes me want to do that. And then I'm grateful for being able to do it, because I know some people that can't. It lowers stress and blood pressure. It's been proven in data-verified studies. It increases your immune system in the American Heart Association. has proven that it improves sleep, mood, and immunity and reduces stress in the body, which can lead to heart problems. And it can increase not just your life expectancy, but your health span as well, which is what you really want, right? I want to die young at an old age. And it actually shows that those with the highest gratitude scores had a 9% lower risk of death over 4 years compared to their least grateful companions. Social relationships absolutely increase stronger personal bonds between you and other people. When I'm a grateful person, and when I'm talking to somebody, a friend, a neighbor, an acquaintance, or my wife or my kids, and I'm being grateful about it, man, I mean, it's more than a vibe. It drives the whole conversation things. And when you're expressing in those subtle ways of gratitude for another person, they become grateful for you and for the relationship. It also tends to increase your generosity and willingness to help people, greater empathy and reduced aggression. So when you're grateful for somebody, well, I'll get personal here. When I was going through all of that, I mean, that was obviously a stress on my relationship, with my wife and girlfriend from college. And one of the things that I focused my gratitude on, in a concerted effort was different things. What am I really grateful about for this and this and this? And one thing was our relationship and her. And all of a sudden, those things that were getting in our way, that were getting in our head about each other or what was going on between each other or whatever, they were there, but they got pushed in the background. And all of a sudden, I was so grateful that we were together and had each other. And the things about her that I appreciated rekindled things in me. It was wonderful. In terms of self-control and personal growth and patience, gratitude strengthens willpower. It also, as I talked about before, gives you greater motivation and perseverance to go after what you're going after. And in another video, I did the power of realistic optimism, meaning you're realistic, you're not head in the clouds, optimistic, airy-fairy, but you're sitting there going, okay, I know the challenges and I know this, but I still think this is doable, and I am going to have an optimistic outlook that we're going to figure it out and work our way around it. And I got to tell you, I have succeeded a multitude of times because of that realistic optimism. And like this, I came up with 25 different reasons through my research, some of which like this you wouldn't expect, of why it was beneficial to us in ways that you wouldn't have expected. It also leads to better decision making. So back in 1989, when I was making a major transition, like I did about 15 years ago again, all I thought about was, what can I succeed at and make money at doing and do? It was kind of fun. And I made the decision. I did succeed at it, but I never should have done it. It wasn't right for me. But as I did in another video called The Life Wheel, where you take a life wheel, and I'll put a link where you can download a free one from me, which is generally an inventory in life and all the different parts of life that you have, and where are you on a 1 to 10 scale with them. But then I took it to another level in terms of now fill in the blanks of each one, and what does it look like to be grateful and happy with that situation. I didn't do that back in 1989. I wasn't practicing gratitude because what it really taught me, and this is huge, is what do I value in life? What's really important for me that I'm grateful for? In all respects, life, health, relationships, fun, spiritual growth, yes, money, yes, career, intimate relationships, all of that stuff. It's identifying what you would be grateful for in order to have it. So that's one hell of a big decision-making benefit when you're looking to change your life in one way or one aspect or your whole life in total. Again, greater motivation and perseverance, it does as well. And then last but not least is the long-term and neurological impacts. So it rewires your brain for positivity, and it's better to be positive than negative. Come on, yeah. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean you're denying reality, but you're taking that positive spin on it. So you don't get down in the dumps, which is counterproductive. You are positive about an outcome. It's also like the poverty mindset versus the abundance mindset. The poverty mindset is it's somebody else's fault, or I can't do it, I'll never figure it out. And the abundant mindset or success mindset is, well, it may have been somebody's fault, but what am I going to do with it? And in terms of making things better, it's up to me, and I can do it. It helps you formulate long-lasting habits, kind of as I alluded to with the health thing. But with the positive attitude, you're coming up with positive habits, and you've got the positive motivation with which to pursue them and achieve them or keep them going or whatever. And in an area that they're really starting to research now, there is evidence that gratitude might support cognitive health in the long run. I mean, I think common sense and my own experience dictates that that's the case, because it reduces stress and encourages healthy lifestyles. And also, too, it's just a better brain function. So there's more there, but I think you're getting the point, that there are all of these positive benefits by doing something like this. And I also want to add one other thing that can be applied at any age, but it deals with the U-shaped curve of happiness that you may have heard about. That when we're kids, it's up here, but then we hit adulthood and it bottoms out. And then when you get older, you actually get happier. Why is that? There are a lot of reasons. And I'm trying to make mine go beyond you to be a backward J by doing what I'm doing now. But it isn't just because, well, I'm out of the stress of work or child rearing. I mean, I guess that can have an impact. But the point of it is that when you get older, and yeah, quite frankly, the mortality thing, you start being really appreciative of stuff. That's one of the regrets people have on their deathbed, is that they didn't catch on to that sooner, that I could have been happier and more grateful at age 30. I didn't have to wait till age 80 in order to do it. So when you start practicing the gratitude, your life is more fulfilling and happier, and you're starting, it's a V-shaped curve of happiness instead. And then you also, by the way, look at, I know some people are saying, well, what about when something really sucks in life? Like you lose a close loved one, or you've got a serious health concern. Well, listen, in the first place, I fully honor and acknowledge that, and I've been there. And fortunately, not with the life-threatening situation, but like, let's say, the loss of a loved one or just some crisis in your life. However, you've probably run across people or heard the stories of people who have had these difficult situations, and they're still grateful for what they have. And it's envious. It's almost envious of, that person lost someone, and yet they've got this, well, thank God I had that person. I'm so grateful for it, and I'm so grateful for what I still have, and life goes on, and things of that sort. Are they still feeling the tragedy? Are they still having moments of crying and despair? Yeah, of course. Or people, facing other life challenges. I mean, one of the most famous is Viktor Frankl, who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, who was in a freaking death camp in World War II with the Nazis, for the Nazi camp. And yet he elevated other people. He maintained this grateful for even what was happening there, and he survived it, and he went on to live. Some people come out of concentration camps and they didn't continue to live. They escaped with their life, but not themselves. So even in those cases, this can be beneficial. So how can you start practicing it and make it easy for yourself? Okay. It's really easy. You just have to get started. So here's a recommendation. Every morning before you lift your head from the pillow, or every night when you put your head on the pillow, take 1 minute, 30 seconds to be grateful, or say, I'm going to be grateful for 3 things. And those can be anything. They can be something big that happened or is happening. or is going on. Or it can be something obvious like it's cold outside and I'm in a warm bed. Or especially at night, it can be, 3 things that happened today that's grateful. Even if it was a lousy day, you can find those three things, that I had a lousy day, but there's tomorrow and it's going to be a better day. I had a lousy day, but I came home and my family was happy to see me. It can be anything. And one time when I was starting this cycle, I was coming back from a meeting and I was stuck in traffic, but I knew that about 1.5 miles ahead, it was going to break free. And I'm like, I want to see how many things I can think of that I'm grateful for between now and when I can get back to 90 miles. Oh, excuse me, the speed limit was 75 miles an hour. And man, I lost count, but I couldn't believe it. I got in the flow of it and I was thanking for everything. And it transformed my life. So this is the simplest. It's so obvious, people look past it. I've discovered that in putting stuff out there and in the stuff that I learned in myself, that sometimes it's like, well, yeah, I know you're supposed to do that. And it's like, but you're not doing it. And then you start doing it and you're like, oh my gosh, it's transformative. And this is one of those things that will make your life better instantly, the moment that you do it. You cannot be unhappy if you're being grateful. And you make it a practice. And it, without any change, is going to elevate your life. But if you're seeking that change, you're going to make that better change that you're going to be really grateful for. And so with all of that said, I truly hope that you were grateful watching this.
Learn more ways to enhance your life and discover a new way forward that's perfect for you by watching these videos or any others on my channel. Oh, and be sure to subscribe.